Good morning, everyone. Scott Earhart here with Insurance Agency Marketing Services. Thank you very much for taking the time to join us this morning. Today, we're going to take a deep dive into Athene's Agility series, which I'm really excited about, one of my favorite products on the marketplace. And to do that, we have our RVP with Athene on with us, Mr. Mac Campbell. Mac, can you hear us?
I can, Scott. Thanks again for having me today.
Hey, thank you for your time. We greatly appreciate it. Before I hand it over to Mac and we get into the meat and potatoes of the presentation today, I'm going to go through just a couple of quick housekeeping items and then a few introductory slides, and we'll get going from there. We'll start with those housekeeping items. First and foremost, our phone number. Probably most important thing I'll say to you today. It's in the top right-hand corner of your screen. That number is 800-255-5055. If there is anything that I can do or anyone on my sales team could do to assist you with your life and annuity efforts, please do not hesitate to give us a call. We'd certainly love the opportunity to be helping you grow your business. Second thing that I will go through are questions. We're going to throw quite a bit of information at you here today, and good information in a relatively condensed period of time. So I'm sure there's going to be a few questions. You have a questions box on your screen. Feel free to type those in. Mac, and in fact, the entire culture at Athene is a real transparent culture. They definitely want to make sure everything that they are doing is clear and concise. So we will do the best we can to get those questions answered for you while we are live and in session. And if we can't get it answered here in the session, certainly when we call to follow up, we will get those answered for you. That being said, I'm gonna get into some introductory slides here. New producer builders. This slide right here is geared towards individuals that are new to us here at IAMS, or if this is your first introduction to us here at IAMS, you are eligible for the new producer builder. There's several levels that, as you can see, it's all based on production within your first 180 days of being licensed with us, and you can cash in at any of these great levels. And as you can see, there's great options to choose from at each level. Business building tools, personal perks, cash rewards, all available to you. Certainly, we would love to help you take advantage of that. If you'd like to know where you stand or like to discuss it in more detail, just let one of your sales directors know here. They'll be more than happy to go through it with you. Going through some further business builders. These are our two most popular programs that we offer. And I think they're our most popular because we're talking about putting dollars into your pocket. We'll start with the referred producer program. Our business here on the wholesale side of the industry, very, very similar to yours in the field, in that one of the best leads we could ever obtain is a referral from you, one of our valued clients. So we want to make it worth your while to refer individuals over to us. That being said, how it works, you refer an individual to us, they pick up any license that IAMS offers. We're going to send you a $50 thank you check. Now, where the real money comes in is as your referral writes business, you're going to receive an override on that business. You can see the percentages there. Steve, Charles, and Curtis, our ownership team, they sign the checks at least quarterly. We do sign checks for thousands and thousands of dollars at a time, so it can be really lucrative for you. That being said, if you can think of anyone that would benefit from doing business with us here at IAMS, certainly type their name into the questions box. Feel free to email me their information, scott@imsinc.com. Or, of course, when we call to follow up, just let us know who they are. We'll do the best we can to get them recruited over to us and get you on your way to earning some referred producer dollars. Below that is far and away our most popular program, that's marketing reimbursement. The reason why it's so popular is we truly believe marketing reimbursement, that account to be your money. So what I mean by that is we put very, very few restrictions on how to utilize that money. We're not going to tell you that your account is capped or you've got to cash it out at any certain time. And one of the big things is we're also not going to tell you what vendor you have to use. If you have had success using a lead company or a mail house or a print operation, we want you to continue that relationship. All we ask that you do would be send us a receipt for the expense you had. We will cut you a check same day and help you offset that expense. If you have questions on either program, please don't hesitate to call our sales desk. Any of the sales directors are very familiar with this. They can certainly walk you through how to best utilize these programs. Back office support. This slide is the heart of who we are here at IAMS and how we were founded almost 5 years ago now, helping our advisors work smarter and not harder. We're going to do that with great business building tools and resources. You just saw a couple of the tools and programs we have. You can see more at imsinc.com. Of course, if you want to have a conversation about what we do to help advisors grow their practice, we can have that for you, or have that with you as well. Case design assistance and life and annuity quotes or illustrations, really helping our advisors get the products they need, get those products lined up and set up the proper way, is something we're very, very good at here, and we spend a lot of time doing. And we make a commitment to our advisors that we're going to have that case design or those illustrations to you, hopefully same day, but guaranteed within 24 hours of the request. Forms at your fingertips. I mentioned imsinc.com earlier. You can get many, many different types of forms there. Of course, you can call us or email us. We'll get you the forms. We pull our forms direct from the carrier themselves. So we're always going to get you the proper forms that you need. And then, of course, we do appoint direct to carriers, so you'll have access to all of these carriers as well. Below that, submission to commission support. We're talking about our new business team here. Amber Williams on the annuity and Cindy Fry on the life end. Those ladies do a great job of leading our new business teams, and the staff that they have are incredibly experienced, know the carriers, know the procedures, really help our advisors to get their business through the issuance process as quickly as possible and get you commissioned very, very quickly. I would tell you that if you haven't submitted your business through us, if you're going direct to carrier, next app you take, send it through us. I think you'll be pleasantly surprised with how much quicker you are commissioned because of the efforts of those teams, and there's no cost for it. That's just part of our service here. Top sales expertise and coaching. Moving on, we've got national sales coaches that are top producers in the industry that have agreed to help IMS and help the IMS producer grow their practice. So we've got a lot of outlets for you there. And of course, internally here, our sales team has a lot of experience. I'm not going to date us and how old we all are, but we've been doing this a while. We've got a lot of experience, and we're here to help our advisors. And then last bullet point before we move on, paperless contracting. We are on the SuranceBay platform, and about 90% of our carriers are on that platform with us. What that means for you is if you're as old as I am, you all know the pains of filling out individual licensing forms and the hand cramps that those cause. We're going to get rid of that for you. You're going to fill out one set of paperwork, and then we can add carriers as you need them electronically. Very, very efficient way to do things. If you have questions about the SuranceBay platform, Chris Mount, our licensing director, is a great resource for you there. Firelight, we are live with Firelight on our website. A lot of great carriers available. As you can see, more carriers being added on. If you want to do your applications electronically right now, more and more applications, obviously, with everything that's been going on, are getting done electronically. We've got a great way for you to do it. It will certainly, I talked about submission to commission support earlier and how quickly or how much quicker we can help advisors get commissioned. Firelight's another tool to do that. It'll submit your paperwork in good order. It'll get uploaded to the carrier and to us simultaneously, so we can help you with that, track that for you, and the carrier gets a head start on it as compared to faxed applications or mailed applications or even emailed applications, because they go directly into their system. It's a great tool. Athene is on the Firelight system. I know they utilize it a lot, and I'm sure at some point Mac could give us stats. I'll bet you he's got them on the increase in electronic apps they're seeing, and I'll tell you, it really will move your business along much quicker. Creative marketing solutions. I mentioned it when we were talking about new producer builders. We do have a full in-house creative team here, headed by Jacob Tedlock. Those ladies and gentlemen do a great job. We can help you with branding yourself, marketing your practice, reaching out to current clientele, and marketing to prospective clientele. And we can do it for you where you won't give up any of the quality you currently have if you're using an outside firm. And we're going to do it for you in a significantly less expensive manner. So I'd tell you, if you are looking at creating some marketing or rebranding or even branding yourself at all, give Jacob, or actually give your sales director here a call, and he or she can walk you through how to access IMS Creative. Our website, mentioned it a few times, imsinc.com. If you haven't gone out and created an account, as soon as we get off this this presentation, please do so. I think you'll be really, really impressed with all the tools that are out there for you. There's no fee to utilize it. Annuity Rate Watch is out there, sales resource libraries out there, all sorts of great things that we give our reps access to. Retirement Analyzer. I won't go down the rabbit hole of regulation, but Retirement Analyzer is one of my favorite things. And if anybody's reading the trades, regulatory actions are popping back up more and more. Retirement Analyzer is a great tool for that. It can really help you, almost like elementary school long division, where you had to show your work and how you got to the answer. Retirement Analyzer will certainly help you with that. It will help you. It'll help you guide your client as to why you're making the recommendation you're making. And the reason why I feel so strongly about Retirement Analyzer is not only is it, a holistic planning analysis of the client's form, I think it's a great closing tool as well. In that, with a click of a button, you can show a client where they were before they implemented the product or strategy you're recommending, and where they are because of, or where they would be because of the product or strategy that you are recommending in really plain, easy to understand language and graphs. So great tool there. Marcus Solar in our office is our point man for Retirement Analyzer. If you'd like to take a closer look at it, we've got some great webinars on it. There's a free trial of it that's available. Certainly give Marcus a call. He could walk you through how to utilize this in your practice. IMS Wealth Management. As we talk about IMS Wealth Management here briefly, I'm going to launch our polling question for the day. And the poll is just asking you if you'd like more information about IMS Wealth. We founded IMS Wealth, probably a little over 2 years ago, and we founded it to really mirror the IMO. What I mean by that is it's an advisor-centric RIA. They're really focused on servicing the advisors, helping advisors to grow their practice. It's an advisor first model, which is what we found to be very unique in the RIA space. We've got great training partners. If you're looking to add managed money into your operations, certainly we can help you take the 65 and pass the 65 with some great training partners. And then for those of you that may already be money managers out there, I'd tell you, click yes on that poll, kick the tires of IMS Wealth Management. I think you'd be really impressed with the platform that we offer, the technology that we bring to the table, and the overall fee structure for both you and your clientele. We've seen a lot of advisors move over to us because of that. It's a great value proposition for you and for your clientele. That being said, I'm going to move on from this polling question here. So if you haven't taken the time to click yes or no, if you would please do so, certainly would appreciate everyone's participation there. All right, thank you everyone, do appreciate that. Okay, moving on, I'll touch on this briefly. Life and annuity academies. Normally we host about 4 a year. Normally Mac's involved with a couple of those. This year, not happening. Don't think that anybody is real interested in getting on a plane and hanging out with 45 or 50 of your closest friends right now. That being said, this is a staple of IMS and who we are here, getting advisors together, doing live and in-person trainings, showcasing who we are and what we do to help you grow your business, showcasing our sales coaches, giving you the ability to interact with other IMS advisors and bounce ideas off of each other. So keep your eyes open. I know it says 2020 dates and locales on the bottom there. Keep your eyes open and ears open. I'm sure we'll be making some announcements towards the end of the year on what our intention is for 2021. But do know this is a staple of who we are. We will continue to do live in-person trainings and junkets for forever. We will do that. Okay, Mr. Campbell, are you ready for us?
I am, Scott. Good to go.
Oh,
Appreciate the
okay.
introduction.
Hey, that was a pretty brief introduction, buddy. I didn't give you the normal hype. I'm sorry.
That's
I am
okay. No worries.
giving you control now.
Great. So if you would, if you could verify you can hear me okay and see my first slide there, Scott?
Yep, yep, I got you great. Can hear you and can see you.
Great. Well, again, thanks everybody for joining us today. I'll take about the next 20 minutes to kind of go through some prepared remarks. I want to leave some time for questions. As Scott mentioned, if you know me, I'm an open book. I will give you my opinion. Might not be the right opinion, but it's an opinion nonetheless at the end. So I want to make sure we have time for questions, if any. A couple comments I'll make, Scott, before I get into the material here, if it's okay. You mentioned a quick comment on electronic submissions, and we have certainly, I think for obvious reasons, seen a pretty significant uptick in that type of business at Athene. Prior to this year, roughly 40 to 45% of our business, and we do quite a bit, which I'll show you in a few moments, was submitted electronically. Now we're up over 60%, and I would urge you to give it a try. It's a little different, but once you get it and do it right or correctly, the in good order nature of the business is undeniable, and your business goes through quicker and you get paid faster. So give it a shot. The other comment I'll make is on those training events that IMS, as Scott mentioned, has been a staple over at IMS for years. They've been a staple at Athene too. And, we all look forward to the day, hopefully in the near future, where we can all get together again, break some bread, and kind of give you the opportunity to kick the tires at Athene. We love bringing producers and advisors into the home office, co-sponsoring that with IMS. As he mentioned, we do a couple of those historically a year. So certainly stay tuned there. We're hopeful that we'll be able to do more of those down the road. Of course, when it's safe to do so, of course. So a couple of things on the agenda here. We'll go through just a little bit of information and background information on Athene, company I work for. As Scott, you mentioned a few moments ago about how potentially old everyone is at IMS. Well, I've been, this January will be my 19th year at the company, which I say that out loud. It kind of scares me a little bit, but I've seen a little bit of everything. And when Athene came in 7 or 8 years ago with the acquisition of Aviva, the vision the company has, I think, is really starting to bear out in what you're seeing in the marketplace and where we're headed. So we'll talk about that. We're going to spend the bulk of the time talking about our Agility series. This is one of our newer, again, maybe a year and a half, 2 years old now, at least at this point, but relatively speaking, one of our newer additions to the portfolio and one of the best selling in the marketplace, which I'll demonstrate here in a moment. I'll also share with you a sales idea. Scott and I were talking yesterday. This is not a insurance company manufactured sales idea. This is an idea that an actual advisor brought to me about 18 months ago using the Agility. This particular individual lives in Western Massachusetts and does quite a bit of business, primarily with the Agility chassis. So I'll share that with you as well at the end. And then, of course, we'll carve out some time for any questions about Athene, the content here, or the industry. I'm a student of the business, so I'd love to chat about that as well. So with that, we'll kind of get started here. Talk about Athene a little bit, by the numbers, some financial highlights there. We just had an extraordinarily good second quarter earnings conference call. And if you haven't seen or heard that, I'd urge you to go out online. It's all public information. Had a great quarter in the second quarter, which is kind of counterintuitive. You think of what we've all been going through over the last 4 to 6 months. How can a company have a good quarter? Well, again, I'd urge you to take a look and listen to that earnings call, and you'll see exactly why. We're AAA rated, A-rated with all the different important rating organizations in our business. Probably the most important, the most visible, AM Best, A rating there. Incidentally, we do run our operation as if we had the A+. We believe we deserve the A+. We can foresee a day in the future where we get that A+, but for now we're rated A, stable. In fact, S&P just reaffirmed our rating at A just yesterday. So that's sort of hot off the presses there as well. In terms of, again, who we are and what we're about, roughly 48,000 appointed financial professionals. For the last several years, 3 in fact, we've been the #2 writer of indexed annuities. That's by calendar year. So 17, 18, and then year ending 2019, we're #2 behind Allianz. Although an interesting development occurred, great development, I think, from my perspective, in this past quarter, Q2 of 2020. Again, to say it was unique is probably an understatement. We actually did sort of an interesting fact. The LIMRA numbers are out, the LIMRA rankings are out, and we are the only top 5 company to do more business in quarter 2 2020 than the last quarter of 19. And as a result of that, we are number 1 for the second quarter of 2020 in the space. So we're proud of that achievement. And thank you all for doing the best you can during these crazy times to get and continue to serve your clients with effective solutions that we have to offer. The combined companies, we've been servicing clients over 100 years, about 1,300 employees, the bulk of which live and work within our West Des Moines campus. We do more than just sell retail annuities and build them. We also are in the pension risk transfer business, number 2 in the country there. We also have a reinsurance business as well, which is very sizable. You probably saw recently a huge reinsurance transaction with Jackson National that we just undertook about a month ago. So big news there. Overall, the number 3 largest portfolio of fixed deferred annuities in the country. So big, strong, robust, and we're headed in the right direction. Here's a quick look at kind of where we've come from. And again, Athene acquired Aviva back in 2012, but prior to that, Athene was a standalone annuity company. It's almost mind-boggling for me to think about this, but in 2011, the Athene Delaware company issued for the entire calendar year just over $100 million in annuity premium. You can see the growth trajectory. Now we do that in roughly a 48-hour period at our company. So again, all thanks to folks like yourself that recognize good solutions when you see them and then use them for your clients. So quite a growth trajectory there for the organization. We think of annuities, and really the bulk of what we do are fixed indexed annuities. We kind of label them, or we think we can put them, not to oversimplify things here, but really in 4 categories. Annuities that provide income, like our Ascend Pro series, guaranteed income solutions, accumulation, like our market leading Performance Elite. We do have some protection type products like your multi-year guarantee annuities, although those are primarily sold in our bank channel. And then legacy, right? There's an important legacy need that we need to fill as well. The Agility, which we'll get into in just a few moments, I believe solves 2 of these 4, but as good as anything you'll see in the marketplace, and that's the income potential as well as that legacy potential as well. And it does it in a very client-friendly and cost-effective way. This next slide here, the Structured Retail Products Awards for 2019, yeah, it doesn't exactly roll off the tongue like the Academy Awards. I get that, but this is a pretty important distinction in our industry. And you can see here that second one, the Fixed Indexed Annuity of the Year for 19 was in fact the Athene Agility. And you look at the marketplace, and there are literally hundreds of different indexed annuities out there. And to achieve that distinction, we're very proud of that. And you all, again, if you're selling it, have helped get there. So that's a quick section on Athene, who we are, where we came from, where we're headed. Again, happy to address questions at the end on that topic as well. But let's get into why we're all here today, and that's to talk about the Athene Agility. Now, historically, this was available to your clients and to you in a 10-year chassis. There was an announcement that I wanted to make sure everyone was aware. We just introduced a 7-year version of this. Now, if you're familiar with Allianz and specifically their 222 annuity, I mean, that's historically been the #1 best-selling annuity in the business for literally the better part of a decade. This is essentially, I believe, a version of that, but better for the clients. I think better for you. Now we've got a 7-year version of that, and again, the 222 only comes in a 10-year chassis. So we got some unique exclusivity there as well. So depending on your client, their time horizon, their income horizon, their legacy planning, a 10-year product might work, or in fact, a 7-year might be better. So that's up to you and your client to decide. Just some quick numbers, and I put this up there because it's almost hard to imagine that this is the case, but it's true. This comes from LIMRA, a very reputable polling and rating agency in our business. 84% of people do not have a formal retirement plan. Yeah, that kind of makes sense if you think about it and step back, right? I mean, people that have pensions, there are still some out there, but there's not a lot of them, right? So when you consider that, what's formal, right? So there's no more pensions. 401ks are out there, but people don't contribute as much as they should there. So there's a huge gap. 55% of retirees who stopped working earlier than expected, that's huge, mainly due to health concerns or potential job loss. The sales idea, by the way, that I'm going to share with you later in the presentation kind of targets those folks, although not for health or job loss necessarily, but more, what we still see a lot is companies who offer their employees early buyout potential of their pension. And we'll talk about that at the end as well. So again, it really falls on us as a carrier to drive solutions, and you guys to help bridge the gap, build the formal retirement plan for your clients and prospects where one might not exist today. So a quick overview. The Athene Agility, I love it because it's pretty simple, right? And we'll talk about some of the moving parts. There's not a lot of them. It's all about building a strong benefit base. And notice I did not say income account because the benefit base truly does more than income. We offer an enhanced income and death benefit as well, and some additional contract features, which we'll cover, again, varying by state. And for those of you that are in one of those difficult states like mine, Massachusetts, California, to name a few, you know who you are. So again, let's talk about building the benefit base. The benefit base itself helps determine two things: the lifetime income withdrawal amount that's available to the client and the rider death benefit that's available as well. Both of these benefits, income and death benefit, are available and included automatically with the Agility, either the 7 or the 10, at no charge. So I'll say that again. This is a rider that's automatically included and there's no cost to it. There's a lot of great products out there that have rider fees. And, I think in concept, people are willing to pay for something of value. But, I'm sure you've all had an instance where you've been on an annual review, and maybe you don't have any gains, but the rider fee still comes out. You're never going to have that conversation. So people, I think, again, are willing to pay for value, but they're also willing to pay nothing for value as well. And that's what we try to accomplish here with the Agility. So let's talk about how it's built and how it grows. So essentially, the client's going to give you a check for, let's call it $100,000. You're going to deposit it, maybe electronically with Athene. And we're going to apply a benefit-based bonus of 20% right out of the gate. On top of that, any interest credits that the contract itself earns, we're going to take those credits and increase them by 175%. And that's essentially how the benefit base grows. So I like looking at numbers. I'm numerical, so I like to look at that as well. And this is, I think, does it a little more simply. So again, $100,000 you see day one. We're going to apply a 20% benefit base. Now, that's not a premium. That's not a premium bonus, everyone. That's a benefit-based bonus for income and death benefit purposes. Okay. So that 100 on day one, at the stroke of that pen, turns into $120,000 for income and death benefit reasons. Let's assume at the end of the first year, your client earns a relatively modest 4%, hypothetically, of course. Now, there's two values, right? There's the benefit base, and of course, their accumulated value, which is their cash. Well, if they grow by 4%, that math is easy. That means they have $104,000 at the end of that first year. We take that $4,000 growth and we multiply it by 175%, and that nets us $7,000. So that means the benefit base that year grows by that 7,000. So 120 plus 7 gives them 127,000 in benefit base. So their $100,000 in less than a year, or about a year's time, has turned into $127,000 for legacy and income purposes. So pretty extraordinary. Again, there's no underwriting, there's nothing like that at all. Very valuable, I think, to a lot of folks. Now, in terms of the indexed options, in addition to providing at Athene what we believe are really unique product designs, where I think we really stand apart are in the strategies that we have developed and have helped develop with some investment bank partners to help drive growth, to help drive income and death benefit planning as well. It's important that you have options for people, and we've got a lot of different options, whether they're looking at large cap US equity type options, balanced options. We have a fixed account as well. I'll talk a little bit more about our most popular ones here at the end. But again, that's a quick look at some of the strategies we have available, both 1 and 2 year designs you can see in both our 7 and our 10 year chassis here. Here are the rates. Now, again, I want to get in front of this here. You'll notice, if you haven't already, you'll likely receive an email from us that our rates on the Agility, notice you'll see these are as of February 3rd. We have not changed them since February 3rd. We are bringing them down slightly today. So if you have business in mind, I believe you've got about a week to sign the applications with your clients, and then I think a couple, 2-3 weeks to get submitted. But just keep an eye out for the announcement. It's nothing dramatic. You know, the 20% bonus remains intact. Again, if I'm thinking apples and apples, I believe Allianz's is 15. Our 175% multiplier remains intact. I believe Allianz's is 150. And our payout percentages have remained intact as well. So the only thing that's changing are the rates. So to me, conceptually, it's the same. But again, I wanted you to be aware. I didn't want you to have a call like this and then get an email, oh, we dropped rates. Well, timing is everything, as they say. We can't win it all the time. But again, we're going back about 5 or 10 percentage points on some of these strategies. But again, still really good, still really good. So let's talk about payout percentages a little bit. At the end of the day, we know this is what drives the income people get, right? So I don't know why we have this fine print down here. To me, it should be in bold and in much larger font. You can see that if you look at this, the first thing you think is, well, our payout percentages are bracketed in 4 to 5 year increments. When the reality is between the ages of 55 and 65, we increase the payout percentage by 20 basis points each year. So there's no need for your client to wait 4 or 5 years to take advantage of a higher percentage. Of course, they can if they want, but each year they get older, that payout percentage increases. And incidentally, from 65 to 80, it goes up by 10 bips each year as well. So very competitive, I believe. So let's talk about when it's time to actually take income as part of the rider. Now, like the 222, if we look at our 10-year chassis, there is a 10-year hold, right? So the client can't access the income as part of the rider until the 10th year. Now on the 7-year product, it's only 7 years. So there's another reason why you may want to consider the 7-year for some of your clients. Now the great thing about this benefit is that let's make the math easier for me here. Let's say we're going to get $10,000. So we've been in this product for 10 years. We've been growing, deferring, things are great. Client says, you know what, year 11, it's time to take income. Let's say they get $10,000 for the rest of their life. Well, we're going to continue to grow that annually based on the index growth they receive in the contract, right? So let's say in that same example I started with, that they earn 4% in a given year. That means next year's annual payment goes up to $10,400. What's also extremely important to point out, easy for me to say, is in addition to potentially increasing their annual benefit, we're going to continue to take that same, in this example, 4%, multiplied by 175, and any remaining benefit base continues to go up by that same amount, that 175% of that. So again, in that last example was about $7,000. Now that's important, or really it's not important if it's just an income account, but as I mentioned, this is a death benefit legacy play as well. And the longer you can maintain the benefit base by growing it like we do, at the rate at which we do, the longer you're going to have a legacy to leave to your clients, even though you're taking income out of it as well. Now, again, the sales idea I'll mention here shortly actually involves using a combination of immediate partial withdrawals to get us to that through that 10-year wait, if you will. And then we trigger the income, and you'll see what happens there in a moment. But there's an advisor, Scott, that works within your system. I won't mention names, but he does a great job with this product. And, you know, explaining this like I did to a client is probably not the best way to do it, right? I mean, I'm explaining it this way to you so you can get behind under the hood and understand how it works. But if you tell someone here, great, you know, there's this $100,000 you're going to give us, you got to wait 10 years to get it for income. Well, it doesn't necessarily sound, it sounds like a gotcha, right? But what he does, and I like this because it kind of spins it around a little bit and says, look, this is the death benefit play that you can access for income if you need it in 10 years. So I like that. It's a unique way of positioning the product, and he does a great job with that. So in terms of the enhanced income benefit, you know, back in the old days of Viva, American Investors, if some of you have been around long enough like me, we were the first insurance company to have an indexed annuity with a feature like this. And basically, if the client's getting an annual benefit, an annual rider income benefit, and they go into a confined qualified care facility, we'll double their income. as long as their accumulated value is over zero. Once it goes to zero, the income doesn't stop, but it goes down to what they were getting before. Again, this is there's no underwriting here. It's automatically included, again, at no charge. They have to be confined for 180 days of the last 250 days. That's sort of the elimination period, if you will. Clearly, the annuitant cannot be confined when this is sold and exercise this. That would defeat the purpose. Talk about a conflict of interest there. So again, a great feature, state varying. Okay, so please, if you're in one of those states that doesn't typically like enhanced benefits like this, call the folks at IMES on Scott's team and they'll let you know if it's available for you and your clients or not. So we've talked about income, we've talked about deferral, we've talked about how the income could grow as well as the benefit base. Now let's talk about the legacy portion. And this is the rider death benefit. So the client passes away, the beneficiary has two options. They can take a lump sum payout, so whatever value they have free of surrender, or they can take the full benefit base or any remaining benefit base over a 5-year period. So it's a great, I think it's a great concept for qualified dollar planning, spreads the taxable situation out over 5 years, and chances are the benefit base is going to be quite a bit higher than any lump sum payout they're going to get on their value anyway. So they're going to get quite a bit more money in their pocket as well. In terms of state availability, it's available basically countrywide. This is the 7-year product. The only state it's not available is in New York. Then we have our 10-year product as well. Again, you can see all blue, which is good in this instance, all available. Again, the confinement feature, just be on the lookout there. You can see in the fine print there, Massachusetts, California, Connecticut, a couple other states there as well. So just be on the lookout for that. Here are the withdrawal charges, very consumer friendly. You can see our age, our issue ages there. The minimum premium is 10,000. Unless you're in one of those other states, then it's actually as low as 5. The maximum premium says $1 million. We'll actually take up to $2 million at full comp with no large case exception required. And again, notice the rider charge is, there is no charge. So you can see the benefit base bonus there, how the benefit base grows by that multiplier. And the last thing I'm going to mention with as it relates to the product, because I think it dovetails nicely into the sales idea, which I'll end with, but again, I want to talk a little bit about the indices as well, is the free withdrawal provision. Typically an annuity gives you the ability to take up to 10% of the initial premium, and then thereafter it's 10% of whatever the accumulated value is, right? So if you are consistently taking and utilizing that 10% free out each year, and unless you're earning at least that, you're going to be getting a decreasing amount each year. Well, with this product, both the 7 and the 10-year, you're allowed to take the greater of either 10% of the value or 10% of their initial premium each year. So you can take if you're on a $100,000 case, you can take $10,000 each year if you want. And we have a lot of folks that use this in bucket planning as well, which I think is a pretty popular concept for a lot of folks. So again, just keep that in mind as well. I mean, there are a lot of products out there that don't let anyone take any money out in the first year at all. This one does. And you get the greater of the value or whatever they put in that first year initially. So a quick recap, and then I'll talk a little bit about our indices, share a sales idea with you, and then I'll turn it back over to Scott for any questions you may have. So agile income payments that can increase each year depending on the performance of the strategies you choose. They're locked in and cannot be lost regardless of future performance, and income payments are guaranteed for life. Good growth opportunities, 20% initial boost to the rider benefit, a huge multiplier there that grows that benefit by 175% of whatever they earn each year. And then very liquid, again, up to 10% penalty free every year based on what they put in or their value, whichever is greater. We have a client approved sales piece here, if you will, that talks about the cost of healthcare and how it grows each year and how this might be a great offset to that, using the indexed engine to keep pace with the inflation of healthcare. I think it's a great concept to think about, client approved pieces. I'll talk a little bit about our indexed strategies, just a couple of them. Again, we could probably spend 30, 40 minutes on each one of these, but we won't do that. I'll just kind of highlight what I like about a few of them. When we look at developing an index strategy for the portfolio, we try to attract the top intellectual property in the industry. We want to make sure that we have diverse choices for you to deliver to your clients, right? They've got to be complementary to one another. The last thing we want to do is spend a ton of time, resources, and money developing a strategy that simply mimics a strategy we already have in the portfolio. You look at our portfolio of index strategies across any of our annuities, particularly agility we're talking about here, and they are indeed complementary. We have strategies that are home run hitters. We have more balanced strategies. We have moderate growth strategies. We have some strategies that zig when the market zagged. I think it makes sense to diversify. And the illustration I'll show you, I think, does a great job explaining why I think that's important. When you deliver business like Athene does each year, we can demand great terms from our investment bank partners like HSBC, like Bank of America. And because of that, we get and demand great support from them as well. So three of the most, I believe, most innovative designs in the marketplace that are available here. We've got, again, brought to us by HSBC, BNP Paribas, and then Bank of America. The Bank of America is using the NASDAQ index. The NASDAQ index, by the way, has outperformed the S&P 500 index in 10 of the last 12 years. So it's built for outperformance. That's really our home run index, if you will. A better chance of getting a zero, but certainly a much better chance of getting an outsized double-digit gain potentially there. Year to date, by the way, that strategy is almost 15%. Of course, you have to apply a participation rate depending on the product you're selling, but that's a heck of a return in a crazy market environment. Again, Bank of America helps design that one. BNP Paribas gives you multiple asset classes as well as multiple geographies as well. Japan, Europe, and the United States. So you've got a good blended strategy there. That's been a great performer for us for multiple years. And the one number one on the left there in front of you, the HSBC, that's our Apex, AIPEX strategy. Now I'm going to be honest with you. When I first learned that we were going to be using or integrating artificial intelligence into one of our index strategies, I was skeptical. I started coming around though when I started realizing, or I heard that we were using IBM Watson to drive that. They basically invented the term AI almost 30 years ago. So if you're going to use artificial intelligence to help drive growth, you may as well use the best. I'll give you a quick anecdote that I found just incredibly interesting. Let's roll back the clock here 6-7 months before we were even aware of what the pandemic looked like. We didn't know what COVID even was. Back in January, this particular index started repositioning itself into pharma, into healthcare companies, into scientific companies, and away from travel companies like airline stocks, hotel stocks, other stocks that derive their revenue from bringing large groups of people together. It was going away from them even before the pandemic started. And the reason it was able to recognize that, given the AI technology, is because it learned from 2004 what the triggers were when SARS was happening back in those days. So it knew to reposition away from at-risk stocks like I just mentioned and go into stocks that could potentially grow. So it's very nimble. It's the only strategy of its kind in the marketplace. And I think combining these three is a great idea. You know, you've got smart technology with the HSBC one, you've got great balanced strategies with the BNP, and you've got the ability to get a home run for your client for part of their money using the Bank of America one and the NASDAQ strategy. So what I'd like to do before I turn it back over to Scott, I'm going to bring up a illustration. Now again, this is a live case. This was issued about 18 months ago. And again, this producer lives in my state of Massachusetts. And what I'm going to do is kind of set the stage for you, and then I will kind of show you the numbers. So this particular individual lives near, I believe it's a Raytheon office, aerospace sort of engineering firm, if you will. And it's a large company, as you likely know. And in this particular instance, there's a lot of employees that were approached by Raytheon who were nearing retirement and being offered potential buyouts, right? So when the person retired, he approached this advisor and said, you know, look, I got this letter from my employer, and they said that they're going to pay me, I believe it was just under 40,000, maybe 38,000 a year forever. Although there's not going to be any increases, so no increases, and there's also no death benefit. So if I die, that goes away and my spouse doesn't get anything. Or they're willing to give me a discounted lump sum today. $700,000 was in fact a discounted lump sum. So the advisor said, well, what are you thinking? What are you thinking about doing? I mean, do you trust that your company will pay you that 40,000 or that 38,000 every year? And almost immediately they said, absolutely not. I don't trust my company to do that. The client recognized that corporate America is not designed to pay employees forever, right? That's just not fiscal responsibility. They're designed to make revenue for shareholders. So why not take control of the asset? Sure, it's a discounted lump sum, but let's see if we can come close to providing what they were going to send to you every year in terms of an income, and put it with a company that's built for that, like Athene. So that's what we did. So here's the illustration. And in this particular instance, I can show you what we used. Again, we're going roughly a third in those three indices that I mentioned. I'm using 1 year variance. Again, we have 2 year variance. So you can get more aggressive if you want. Typically a 2 year strategy's got better rates, but again, I wanted to show an annual increase potentially each year. And so this is what he chose. So what I'm going to do now, bear with me here, is step down a few pages. And again, this particular advisor, I think, does the right thing by showing a very conservative long-term illustration. So you'll see here the annual rate that we're assuming is under 4%. I think any indexed annuity worth of salt should be able to achieve at least that over long term, potentially 4 to 6% or more on average. So let's call it less than 4%, 385. Now again, we're going to use a combination of the partial withdrawal feature, the free withdrawal feature, letting this rider cook, if you will, and grow and defer for the 10 years it's designed to do. In the 11th year, we're going to trigger the income. So you can see what we're pulling out is roughly $36,000 a year each year. So we're almost matching what the employer was going to provide. But again, they have control of the asset. They've got a death benefit here as well. You can see the benefit base right here is $800,000, and that's available in its entirety over 5 years to the beneficiary if they were to pass away. Look what happens in year 11. So they're getting $36,000 a year. They trigger the income. Now they get a pay raise, so almost $46,000 a year. And that's based on less than 4% average growth over the term. So very attainable, I would say, almost very achievable, certainly. And you can see, again, using that same rate of return, how they're getting increases each and every year. And the benefit base lasts all the way until age 85. So there's still a small death benefit there available as well, despite the fact they've taken over $1 million out of the contract. So pretty extraordinary results. I'll show you, we have another feature on the illustration where we use actual performance. So we take a snapshot of the last 10 years and apply that growth, and you can see the results are actually a little better. So the same $36,000 a year comes out. I believe the last slide showed about 45,000. This is over 48,000 in year 11, and you can see continues to go up as well each year. So pretty extraordinary sale. And what's interesting and what's great about this concept is that if you look at the average annuity size at Athene, it's about 100,000, 125,000, give or take. Of course, it depends where you live in the country. The average case size for this type of sale for this individual, this advisor, is over $400,000. And he's doing a great service to his clients. He's giving them control of their money. Again, most employees don't trust their employer to pay them. Right? They're not designed to pay annuity benefits, but they've got control of the asset. Frankly, the advisor has control of the asset as well, and they're providing a great service to their clients as well, providing increasing income. I do want to show with you, and then Scott, I'll turn it over to you for the remaining time. We built this in, and it comes later. I think it starts on page 12 here. This kind of shows the benefit. I think it does a great job actually of showing the benefit of using multiple strategies. A question I get almost every week from advisors I talk to is, Mac, you got all these great strategies. Which one should I choose? And of course, the company stock answer as well, it depends on your client situation, but the reality is they should choose multiple ones. I think that's this page of the illustration makes that plain. So again, let's take a look at just the three we discussed, right? These three here, the HSBC, the BNP, and of course the Bank of America. You can see the current rates we have. What we did in each instance, we assumed that you went all in on any one of those strategies. And we looked at almost 5,000 different market cycles over time, over history. And we determined, I'll give you an example, the AI powered strategy here. In those 5,000 cycles, 80% of those scenarios achieved some sort of gain for the client had they gone all in to that strategy. But that means that 1 out of every 5 years, 20% of the time, the client gets a 0. Now, maybe that's okay. right? Because again, if they're getting a zero, that means markets are negative. So at least they're not losing money. But still, getting a zero is not always great. You can see the best 1 year performance is under 12, averaging just under 4. And you can see we've done that with each one. Look what happens though, when we evenly allocate to all these strategies. We almost reduce completely the chance of getting a 0 year. So we've looked at almost 4,800 scenarios. And when you diversify equally among the strategies, the risk of getting a 0 in a given year drops to 7%. And you're not even giving up that much in average annual return, right? Just under 3.4. So powerful stuff. I think it shows the clients the benefit of diversification. And again, it's about risk reward, but at the end of the day, from a pure risk perspective, we all know here that you can't lose money with an indexed annuity. So don't look at risk like that. Look at it, the risk of getting a 0, right? Which is possible. That's how annuities work and indexed annuities work. But diversifying with these strategies like this almost eliminates that possibility altogether. So Scott, those are all the prepared remarks that I have for everyone today. If you want to take control, I'm happy to answer any questions that may have come up from the group.
There we go. Sorry, had my mute button on and it wouldn't turn off for me. So give me just a second here. I'm going to take control back. If you do have any questions, please feel free to type them in. But I can tell you, I've been waiting for this, Mac. I've been waiting for this for, probably about 45 minutes. A good friend of ours, I'll use first name only, Ken. And I think you'll know who I'm talking about, buddy, when I read this to you. This is the only question he had for us. And for those of you that haven't been introduced to Mac, he is a proud Northeasterner from the Boston area. Ken wants to know, hey, Mac, how about that 7-1 overwhelming victory for the Lightning?
Oh, as a Boston Bruins season ticket holder, yeah, not exactly a fan of that.
Okay.
But those of you that are hockey fans know that it's a long series, 7-game series. Thanks for the question. We'll see you in game 3 or game 4. Sorry.
That's all I got. I'm not a hockey fan, but I knew what he was getting at, and that was I love the fact he typed that in.
That's awesome.
Yeah. That being said, I've had a few questions come in regard to commissions for the individuals that ask those questions. We'll get you out that information. That's just the things can vary a little bit, ages, things like that. So we'll handle those offline. And other than that, Mac, I really didn't have any questions come in. I think you did a great job of covering the strategies that are available, how versatile these products are. So thank you very much for that. If there are any further questions that come to mind when we call to follow up, please let us know. We can get you in touch with the folks at Athene. They've got a great sales desk there. If it's something we can't answer, of course, we will certainly try to answer it from the IMS end as well. That being said, those are the end of the remarks that I have. Mr. Campbell, anything for the group as we sign off?
Just real quickly, everyone, thanks again for your time today. Look, it's been just an insane 6-8 months here. I hope everyone's safe, and I just really appreciate the work that you all do. I know it's difficult under normal circumstances, but these days it's even more so. So thank you for all that you do every day to help companies like Athene be as successful as they are and continue to be able to provide good value and results for your clients. So Scott, with that, thanks for your partnership and have a great day.
Hey, thank you, everyone. Thank you, Mac. We appreciate everyone's time. Go out, have a great sales day, and I look forward to chatting with you very, very soon.